Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to talk about cake pricing and why you need to increase your cake prices. If you haven't seen my last video where we talked about valuing your time and money, I'll put a link to it in the description below, and I'll also put a wee card up here for you as well if you want to check it out. So if you like these kind of videos, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so that you'll be the first to know when there's a new video. So with all that being said, let's get talking about pricing your cakes. In the last video, we'd established that you're actually going to start charging for your cakes now. And now that you are going to start charging for your cakes, it's how to work out a way to charge your customers so that they're happy, but most importantly, that you're happy with your price as well. And of course, that's easier said than done. So how on earth do you do that? So I find what makes things easier is to have a base price. If you have a base price for say an 8-inch round Victoria sponge cake, then that's your starting point. That's the basic price, and depending on the detail of the cake, you can build on that price. Okay, so now you've got a base price that you're happy with, and you could be tempted at this stage to say, I don't really know what a base price is for that particular type of cake. Maybe I'll shop around, maybe I'll see what other people's prices are, maybe I'll check out other cake makers' prices. Don't do that, because again, it's kind of like asking people what their budget is, where you're giving them the control. If you find out what other cake makers are charging in your area, you don't really know what their time is worth to them. So for me, I'm a mum, I have 3 kids, I'm a wife as well, so it would be silly of me to compare my prices to someone who is maybe a student or someone who has no children or no family, because they might have a lot of disposable time and maybe their time isn't as valuable to them as it is to me. And only you know how valuable really that your time is. So you could look at another cake maker's price and think, oh my goodness, they're so cheap. Am I ripping people off? Am I overcharging people? And really, just because someone is underpricing their cakes and underpricing their work doesn't mean that you're overpricing. Really, this is why I don't think it's a good idea to check out other people's prices, because you can't compete with someone who is underpricing. You're never going to win. And just because someone is selling something really cheap doesn't mean that's what it's worth. So for example, last week I was in Home Bargains and I needed to get a wee birthday card. Dylan was going to a party on Saturday. And so I picked up a wee birthday card, threw it in my basket, and it was only really when I got home I looked at the price of the card, and it was 29p. Now, that is a crazy price for a birthday card. I mean, you usually spend around 100, and not £100, like £1 or £2 on a card, 29p. So just because that card was 29p doesn't mean that that card is worth 29p. It just means that Home Bargains are happy enough charging so little, and they are really, really underpricing a card at 29p. So bear that in mind, that it doesn't mean that I won't go to another card shop in future and spend £2 or £3 on a card just because Home Bargains card was 29p. So if you think about it, there will be something that you have that you don't mind spending extra on. So for me, that's, let me think, jam, for instance. This is a new thing, jam. So you can get jam for maybe 60 or 70p. And a friend of ours, we were round to their house one Sunday and we'd made a cake and put a 79p jam inside this cake. And my friend, she had made scones and had this lovely jam that's maybe £3 a jar. So we sat down and had her lovely scones first with the jam, and they were really, really good. And then we had the cake. Well, the cake, after having the jam that was amazing, the cake just did not taste good with the cheaper jam. So now I'm converted to this brand of jam that is like £3 a jar, but there's just no going back now. And even though you can get a jar of jam for maybe 79p, that's me hooked on this more expensive jam. So just because I can get jam at 79p, am I going to get it? Or will I buy the jam that I like? And the answer is, I'm going to buy the jam that I like. And the same goes for your business. If someone sees your style of cake making and sees what you're doing and really likes it, they're going to pay what your rate is for that cake. Another example of this is I could, if I needed a wee cami top, for example, I could go into Primark and get one for maybe £4. Or I could go to Zara and spend 20-25 quid on exactly the same top. I don't really do that because Primark's fine for me, but for some people, they would rather spend the extra £20 and get something out of Zara. You know, when you make something at a bargain price or you make something really cheap, you devalue it straight away. And as cake decorators and cake makers, we have to value ourselves before we can expect anybody else to value us or to value our work. And if you're giving someone a cake at a bargain price, then you're having to buy bargain products, so they're not going to get the best out of you. You're not going to be able to buy free range eggs, and you're not going to be able to buy really good quality fondant. You're going to have to cut corners. They're not going to get the best work that you can produce at a bargain price. So every time you underprice a cake, you are doing yourself a disservice, because you know deep down that that cake is worth more. So you're taking away from your own credibility by underpricing a cake. Not only that, you could be hurting other cake makers, because if you're willing to sell a cake at a rock bottom price and there's a home baker a few miles up the road, you could be hurting their little business as well. You know, also you're doing the customer a disservice. That customer may not know how little you're making on that cake after you hand it over, and they could be completely horrified at the fact that by the time you've paid out for all your materials and costs and time, that you're maybe only making £10 or £15. So there's a girl that does cakes and she works with my sister-in-law, and she was showing me a picture of it was a two-tier Batman cake, two-tier cake with a Batman figure on it. She done this cake for 25 quid, and I was gobsmacked. I just thought, what? How on earth could someone produce a two-tier cake with a handmade Batman figure for £25? And I felt so bad for the cake maker, because I just thought of the time and the materials that have gone into that. And not only did she not make any money out of it, it's probably cost her money to make that cake. I don't know the circumstances behind why that's how little she charged, but I know my sister-in-law, and she would be really gutted at the thought that that girl would be out of pocket. And I didn't have the heart to say to her, oh my goodness, like this girl will have had to put money to this cake in order to even get the thing out the door. So think about even your customer. I mean, your customer wants a cake from you, wants to pay you for your time. And if you're going to just throw out a price that's not going to pay you, then that's on you. You know, in a lot of ways I get it, because making cakes is fun and making cake toppers is fun. I love it. I really enjoy making cake toppers. So in that way, it can be really hard to look at it and think about it as a job, because you enjoy making it and it is fun. They are fun to make. But if this is your sole source of income, then you have to look at it as your job. And if you're not earning at the very least the minimum wage, then that's not sustainable long term. You know, there's a minimum wage for a reason. Obviously, well, I would like to think that the government have sat down and worked out what this is the least amount of money someone needs an hour to live on and to get by. And if you're not even getting that, that's no good. You could say to me, but Amanda, what if I change my pricing? What if I put my prices up and I don't get as many cake orders in? And that could very well happen. But if you're pricing your work correctly and you're pricing your cakes correctly, then you could be getting the exact same amount of money for doing less work. And you know, you never know, you might even have some time left over to reinvest time in yourself or reinvest time into your business. And believe it or not, you might even get more orders. So when I started my eBay shop in 2012, I had no idea what to price things for. I was just sort of testing different things. So I'd put a few toppers on for £15. And of course they were selling really well, and everything that I put on seemed to sell. And after a while, I just couldn't keep up with the workload. There was just so many orders coming in. And I thought it was because they were so cheap. And I just thought, oh my goodness, right, what can I do to stop as many orders coming in? So I doubled my prices, thinking, you know, this is going to stop all these orders coming in. And you know, it did calm things down a bit, but I still steadily got the orders coming in. And the orders that I got in, They were really good quality orders, so rather than me doing a cake topper at 10 or 15 pounds and rushing it and throwing it into a box and out the door, I was maybe getting 30 pounds for that same cake topper where I could invest a bit more time and have a bit more pride in it. So don't be scared. If you think that you're underpricing, don't be afraid to put your prices up to what you think that they should be. So I mentioned base price. So say your base price is £65. And I know a lot of you watching this, that's not your base price. You're charging a lot less. And I just want to show you this example as to why you're really underselling yourself and you're underselling your work. So say your price is £65. And say you're doing one cake a day, so that's five cakes a week at £65. So multiply that by 4 for the whole month. So that's £1,300 for the whole month. That's gross. So we're going to pretend that your costs are, say, 30%. So this is working on one cake a day, which is a lot of work at £65 a day. Taking out your costs gives you £1,300. Taking away 30% leaves you with £910. That's crazy. If I then divide that out into hours and work out an hourly rate, and you know the amount of hours, a lot of us are more than full time. I mean, I know I am. I get up at 5 in the morning and I work until 2, until my youngest gets out of school. So I know that I'm working more than full time, and you probably know that you're doing more. And if you work it out like that, that is scary. That's not even a minimum wage. And you know, talking about this, it's not nice. I know some of you aren't even seeing those numbers, because whenever I did do cakes full time, I make the cake toppers now, but when I did the cakes full time, I seen all this money coming in, and I was thinking, where the heck is all this money? Where is my wages? Where is my profit? But a lot of it goes back out on materials and costs, and the time involved in creating these cakes is crazy. And you know, your cakes look beautiful and your Instagram looks great, but your bank account kind of needs to look good too. And I'm not saying to be greedy here, please don't get me wrong. I don't want you going out and tripling your prices and overcharging people and being greedy. There has to be a balance where you're not undercharging yourself, and you don't want to go the other way either, where you're going to be, you know, known as the most expensive cake maker. You know, it's just about being realistic with yourself, being honest with yourself about your pricing. Are you being fair to you? Are you being fair to your family? Are you being fair to your business? And are you being fair to your customer? And you know, just being honest with you and being transparent, I still struggle with this. I struggle with this too. Do I charge what I think I'm worth now? No. Am I getting better at it? Yes. And that's the point I'm trying to make. I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to me as well. You know, I might be different to some of you on here in that I don't do the cakes full time. The cake toppers are my bread and butter now. But coming into April after the tax year, I always put a little bit of an increase, and it's never easy. But it's easier in the sense that it's an online business, and I'm not having to see people face to face. I've been in the situation that you're in right now a few years ago whenever I was doing cakes full time, and unless you're a cake decorator or a cake maker, you don't know the struggle. You don't know the struggle that us cake makers go through. I mean, you're talking early mornings, late nights, and nobody else sees it. They just see the lovely cake at the end of it. And you deserve to have a wee bit of profit at the end of that, and a wee bit of pride in knowing that you've charged what you're worth. You know, whenever you sit down and you work out a price and you work out what your costs are and what your hourly rate should be, and you quote that price and you charge that price and you do the work and the person pays you that price, it feels amazing. It feels amazing to get paid what you believe you're worth, and to see that in your bank account and to be able to reinvest it back into your business again. There is nothing like it. I just want you to see how valuable you are and how important what you're doing is, and I want you to get the most out of your wee business. So if you're sitting there this week and you have a diary full of cake orders and you're banging your head against a brick wall, just know that I'm here to support you. We're all here as a community. We're all cheering you on. Just know that you're worth so much more than what you're charging. I can do a video on pricing and exactly how I work out prices and how I execute them. If you want, I'll do a video on that. You can let me know in the comments below. And thank you for all the positive comments on the last video. They really do mean a lot. It's lovely to know that these wee videos are helping you in some way. So I'm going to keep making these. But for now, I've talked for too long. I will see you on Thursday for another tutorial. Bye guys.